Hi everyone, hope you're well. So we had some big news last night. We got some US dollar CPI month on month inflation figures, and the market reacted pretty strongly in all sorts of directions. So hopefully you weren't in the market when that happened, or if you were, then hopefully it played out for you. But yeah, it was a bit of those are the sort of news events you try and keep away from, because even if it does go in your direction, there's a fair chance it will go against you first and then stop you out, then go your way. And we're not happy campers when that happens. It's very annoying. Okay, so let's get into some charts. We've got a few good things happening today. Possibly. Setup's looking good. One thing I will also mention now is that I will mention certain strategies when I'm going through these charts. So I'm not quite so vague. But if you don't know what those strategies are and you want to learn, then there's a link in the description where you can learn the same information, join the same program that I'm a member of, and yeah, and learn these strategies. So we'll start. I've got a list here. I'll just put it into my watching list. Won't go through everything, of course. So the most important ones, the big ones that I'm looking at, Aussie Cad, which is one I went into yesterday. You can see it played out amazingly well, but unfortunately it stopped me out first. So looking at the previous day's candle, in hindsight, there was no real deceleration there, so I probably shouldn't have entered this trade with such a tight stop. I only got a 0.5% loss because I'd already moved my stop down to 0.5% because they moved in my direction a fair way. We did unfortunately pull back before the news event, and when the news event happened, it was a massive red candle. But anyway, on to today. So what we have today setting up is a possible CBO break of the 4-hour, break of the 1-hour 50. Let's go to, whoops, not that one. Let's go to the 1-hour chart. Actually, we should start the daily, shouldn't we? So the daily, we've had this wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and this is wave 5. Aiming for the lows or thereabouts for wave 5 on the daily. Back to the hourly, so we've had this big breakdown yesterday. The 4 and the 1 hour are not too far behind price action, so if it does pull back, that could give us a great entry for what we call the CBO, complete breakout. It's broken the 4-hour and the 1-hour 50, putting back to 382 in this fib, and then you can take it down to lows for 1.5–2% possible profit on that. Stop. We've also got the pivot line here, which is in our favor. So people who trade daily pivots will also be able to. We're also jumping on this trade, so that could help us get in our favor. So trading that short to the lows. So that's the first one, Aussie Cad. Got a couple of Aussies here. The next one's Aussie Yen. You're watching the yen for a while. Is it finally breaking down? Well, it seems to be. So we had a fake to the upside 2 days ago, and then it pulled back yesterday. Quite a strong reversal candle. What seems to have happened is the safe haven currencies, like the US dollar, got stronger with the dollar inflation yesterday, and that's helped the Swiss and to a certain extent the yen to gain some strength. So we're seeing this breakdown here of the Aussie yen, this trend line here, which is not that relevant. It's not relevant anymore, but it got broken, retested with a high test. This is what I mean by the news event. Had you been in this short, you made the right decision, but it would have taken you out probably by running the stops that are all placed behind these highs. Run those stops first and then pull back in a nanosecond and then carries on its way. So that's where we've got to be careful with certain news events. So Aussie Yen, it's looking good in that we've got a nice complex pullback hopefully happening here. So that's going to do, this is a wave, this is a wave 1, wave 2, this is a wave 3 with the wave 4. complex pullback to, again, we got the daily pivot in our favour. 382 on the fib is about here, about the same levels as the pivot. Not great risk reward, 1.5% possibly on there, depending on the entry. You could even pull, well, I pulled the stop down a little bit behind the R1 because we've got the pivots on our side. But if you want to play it safe, you stick it a bit higher, and you got it to stay over 1% for possible Aussie Yen. That's to the 4-hour 50, this blue line, which is the safest profit target, unless you're doing a 1-to-1 on the pip snatcher, which would be 1-to-1 entering on the pivot, stop behind the R1, go for 1-to-1 trade. But 4-hour 50 is the safest take profit for the IBO, and then we can even, if you wanted to, you could push it further down to the daily 20, which is this red line here, with the daily 50. So there's good potential there. Aussie Yen, definitely worth watching. Okay, Euro Kiwi. So Euro Kiwi is being a bit, well, we've got a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. So this could be wave 5, although it's already extended beyond what you'd expect for a wave 5. But with that price action yesterday with a very bullish candle, and there's a possibility here of a pip snatcher, where we'll be entering a trend line here. I like to have trend line support when we're doing these 1-to-1 trades, a pip snatcher here. Entering on the pivot, on a 1-hour 50 test, and there's a 1-to-1 in there to get a quick 1% profit. Hopefully. Now, Elliott wave, it's a bit messy. You could probably say there's a wave 1, wave 2, this is a wave 3 maybe. Not convinced. So maybe I'm going to actually demote that to my main list because it's not that great. All right, Euro USD. So the USD, the dollar had amazing strength yesterday after its bad inflation figures. Go figure. So they gave us a big bearish candle yesterday, but there's still room to these lows. So in fact, this arrow here should be a big fat yellow one because it's looking very strongly like a down day today. So here we got a massive move after the news. Finally slowed down, deceleration. Now if it does pull back, it's quite a long way to pull back, but if it does, I've got an alert set here. It needs to break through the 4-hour 50, depending when it happens, of course. We've got a pivot in our favour as well. Entry around here somewhere, around where the pivot is. The 1-hour 50 will catch up. It'll break 4-hour 50 briefly. And this is the daily 20 there as well. Give us an entry and then trade it down to, this is clearly a wave 5. 1, wave 2, wave 3, big wave 3. Wave 4 pullback, and then a wave 5. So wave 5 target would be 0.618 fib extension on this wave 3. So from fib extension from here to here, back to the entry about here somewhere. We have to adjust that when the entry happens, and that means the profit target will be around here somewhere. So there's good potential there. 1.8%. You could even maybe trim the a little bit further, make it 2%. I found Euro US dollar does not seem to be make it very easy to get into these trades. It either makes very quick moves or it stops just before the entry and then goes on its way. But we'll see how that one plays out. It's got a nice looking one. Euro dollar. All right, next one, pound Aussie. Pound Aussie, we've got bouncing. We've had a kind of double bottom in the last few days. Got some strength now. We're trading through the daily 20 here. We just hit the daily 20 and the daily 50 is still above us. There's a bit of room above us. There's a good chance this will pull back to the daily 50. MACD, very strong from this low to the recent low, but it's not that clear because it's slightly higher as well. So MACD doesn't really tell us that much. I mean, there's definitely a MACD divergence from way back here. we've had this pulling higher while this was going sideways. So MACD is in our favour, but it's not that obvious. And if you look here, we've got, this is the 1 hour chart now, so we've got a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3 happening, which seems to be broken into 5 waves again, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. So wave 5, so his profit target will be below the 0.618 fib extension. Again on this wave 3, it's going from the bottom up to this high here, and then putting back to wherever the entry is, and the extension on that will give us a profit target, safe one of there, which actually ties in with these highs here. So that would make a lot of sense to put a profit target around there. Pulls back. We've got a test of the 1 hour 50 and the 4 hour 50. The red and the blue lines here. And if you look at the 4 hour chart, we can see that there's a nice, this is the 4 hour chart. Wave 1, wave 2, this is the wave 3. There's a nice breakaway from the 4 hour 50, which is the red line. So when it does pull back to our entry, there'll be a nice break and retest. So I like the look of that one as well. That's pound Aussie. See if that one pulls back for us. Next one, pound yen. So we're starting to see some pound strength now. Pound yen on the daily. Actually, we've got pound strength, but also even more yen strength than the pound strength. So we've got this kind of quadruple top thing going on here, this major resistance level on the daily. Been trading up from this level here for the last few days, and now it's hit this level. A reversal candle yesterday. It's not that convincing, is it? Bullish day, when would that be? Monday. And then a high test and reversal candle yesterday. We need some proof on the 1 hour. On the 1 hour chart to make it convincing that it has actually changed direction. So here it is. I'll put a trend line in here, which is not the greatest, but it starts off down here, touches here, then it's broken and retested. So that kind of makes sense, that trend line. Looking like the trend reversal is happening. We've got lots of tops hitting this level here. So we can have stick a line in there. So it's bouncing off that line, and that's broken down, and we've got a lower high. Not that convincing. The break of the 1 hour 50 here is not that convincing either. So if you're an aggressive trader, you could have taken that as a short trade and hoping it goes all the way down here. But I think we need to see a bigger break and retest. So it's not really, the fibs aren't great because the price action has not been that great. From here, and really, if you really want to see it, perhaps breaking down to this kind of level, pull back and then go short, or maybe it's even giving us an entry right here with that wick. Well, there's a 382 just above the 1 hour 50. So let's give us an entry here perhaps, because this entry was just after the market opened for the day. So low liquidity, bit high spreads. Not many people would have caught that trade, so maybe it's putting back now for an entry. So maybe one that's going to happen now. It's in the Asia session quite early. In the yen pair, then that's quite acceptable. We can even go to, let's put the volume. Put the volume here. So volume, as you can see, when this first entry happened, it was very low volume. Then the volume started picking up. Then we've got this pullback. We're only a quarter of the way through the hour, so volume is picking up now. So that could be a possible entry happening anytime soon, perhaps. Quite aggressive again, like I say, because it hasn't really cleared the 1 hour 50 very well. We'd like to see it kind of pull down here, pull back, and then go down. That depends what kind of trader you are, if you're an aggressive trader or not. Kiwi Yen next. A quick drink. So again, we had a good deceleration, apart from that weird candle on Monday. Tuesday bearish action, so it looks like today's going to be going short as well. Finally getting that yen strength, which is putting these pairs down. We go to the hourly. We have this trend line here, which has been broken, retested, broken, finally broken and cleared. Way down here, broken through the 1 hour 50 yesterday. So if you've taken this trade, you would have probably been okay. It's not very clear break and retest, but it was, maybe it'll just stopped you out on this one here anyway. This is the news candle. There's some crazy things. I heard there's some very big spreads around then. So people were stopped out of trades way more than their expected stop loss because of the wide spreads that happens in these news events. Right, so we've got a break. A very strong breakdown below the 1 hour 50. It's even reached the 4 hour 50 and just broken it basically briefly. Now it's heading back. So we could have an IBO initial breakout here, IBO C. A C because this is the 4 hour 50 that we've been reached. Maybe trading through it. So that could be a possible trade. And you'll be trading through the 4 hour 50. But with the yen strength and looking at other yen pairs, that doesn't seem unreasonable. So we'll see how that one plays out. It's putting back right now. Okay, good. CAD yen. This is the one I liked from yesterday. It's still hitting this level. It's very strong. So I'm looking for a down day today. But the price action has not been that great. Yes, there's been a strong level here that's been rejected. It was broken yesterday during the news event. Take all the stops out and resumed its way. This trend line here is not the greatest. Don't know if you put any value in that trend line. Maybe you could even put the trend line up here, perhaps. No, nothing really obvious going on there. But it's that break of the 1 hour 50 is obviously not enough. It's now putting back. So we'll see what the next few hours bring. If we get a nice break here and a pull back to the 1 hour 50, then there's a possibility of a good trade there. Not that great profit because of 1 hour 50, 4 hour 50 are actually quite close. The 4 hour 50 has been catching up. But if you want to push your profit target further, daily 20, 4%, daily 50, 7%. Don't get too excited about these big numbers. If you go for big numbers, then there's a good chance to get shaken out somewhere along the way. Unless you have excellent trade management and a little bit of luck. So that's CAD yen, well worth watching when it finally does break down. Another one is Euro yen. Again, we've got this level here, which has been respected, just broke above it yesterday, and now it's starting to break down. So maybe we've got something positive happening here. Ignore this. This is the trade from earlier in the week. So it's broken this trend line. We've got a lower high now. We've got lower lows. Not really a nice break. And retest of the 1 hour 50. Should we get one soon? That could be quite nice. We can do a short trade in here. Got the pivot. We're on the pivot as well. Stop. And yeah, target around here, the 4 hour 50. Could be a nice little trade as well if that breaks down later on. Good. Then the other two ones I want to cover really quickly. Aussie Kiwi. Oh, a few others ones down here which you can go through in your own time, which look okay, but not quite good enough to go on my best list. So we've got a double top here, presumably a MACD divergence. Yeah, definitely a lower high on the MACD. RSI is very overbought there, still pretty overbought. So there's a good chance of pullback here on Aussie Kiwi. We've got a really strong trend line, which has finally broken, tested 1 hour 50 and bounced straight off. And looks like it's, so we're waiting for a break of the 1 hour 50 to show some real strength. And then the 4 hour 50 is quite close, so there's a good chance it will break down and touch the 4 hour 50 before it pulls back. But unless, of course, we do have a very smaller break like that, which is obviously make the trade much more profitable, but a lot riskier because your stops are much closer. But that could be a possible trade there. That's a 4 hour 50. That gives almost 2%. Break down here, pull back. Yeah, that sounds a little bit risky for me because Aussie Kiwi, as you can see, it's quite volatile, wicky, and could be quite a risky trade. But anyway, something to keep an eye on there. And the last one we've got is £. Again, we've got this nice major resistance level that's been tested. And is it finally going to break down? Let's have a look at the lower time frames and have a look. Here we are. So we don't really have any trend lines that I can see. This is one, this latest one perhaps. There's a trend line there. Still sitting behind the 1 hour 50 now, so when you see a break of the 1 hour 50, break of this trend line, pull back and test. We've got a lower high following that news event, and no lower low. So it's needs to prove itself. Probably the best thing to do here would be to wait for break of the 4 hour 50. Stop up here somewhere. I'm really confused. It's now with 2 trades on here. Wait for the back of the 4 hour 50 and a retest, and then there'll be a nice trade there. Which is actually what I had drawn, isn't it? There we go. I know what I was thinking. All right, yeah, so wait for the back of the 4 hour 50 to give a CBO break retest. So that'll look something like, when this finally does break down, probably here, retest the 1 hour 50. There, and there. I made a mess of that. Okay. So what I'm thinking here, break of the 1 hour 50, we get the 4 hour 50, pull back to the 1 hour 50, give an entry if you're playing the IBO. Otherwise, you wait for to break this 4 hour 50 here, pull back to the 4 hour 50, and then and happy days down to the daily 20. Yeah, so that could be a trade worth waiting for. Keep an eye on that one. Got my alerts set just below the 4 hour 50, if I see that. Okay, good. Hope you found that interesting. Hope you found it useful. Some good things about to happen hopefully today. Good luck with your trading. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning. And yeah, all the best in the markets. I'll speak to you soon. Take care. I'll stop this. Stop that.